need to have a short format.
I see a Federer and a Nadal sitting next to me.
So I told him, let's do a 20-point format.
When you have a dream with a plan of action and your dedication to work towards it, I think God has his own plan.
So basically, I started playing tennis when I was, I think, 5 years old, and I played for around 15 years at the national level. And then when I went to Spain, I realized that India was far behind in terms of fitness, and we were not actually there. That time there was no Instagram, no Facebook, so we didn't know what's happening in the world. So when we were playing in India, we thought we were really good and we could become world champions. But when you travel, you realize that where actually you are in a bigger ecosystem. So I came back, I started my academies. So and I called my academy KTTFA, that is Kunal Thakkur Tennis and Fitness Academy, because that time there were no coaches that were focusing on fitness. They were all concentrating on tennis, and that is where we were going wrong. So I made sure that all our students did fitness before the session and after the session. We provided yoga instructors, and that's how the tennis journey started. My coaching started from 2010. I had my academies in Bombay. So I had a couple of good academies in Bombay and good clubs. Around 2016, I would say there was a huge drop in the number of people who were playing tennis, especially kids. And I could say one of the reasons was, of course, these leagues that were coming up. You had an IPL which was promoting cricket big time. You had a Pro Kabaddi League which was promoting Kabaddi. So suddenly you would see Kabaddi coaching happening. You could see schools having Kabaddi as their sport. So then came Badminton League, the Pro Badminton League, and you realized that where you had 100 kids in tennis and 30 kids in badminton, suddenly there was a huge shift. There was around 150 kids playing badminton, there were around 40-50 kids in tennis. And we thought that one of the reasons could be the popularity of the sport due to the leagues. Right. And then Mrunal and me just had a casual chat, and I was telling him, that tennis is dropping, it's not doing well, and I have an idea. I think we should do an event. We were all connected in the industry. We had friends in the TV industry, in the film industry. Right. So we decided, let's announce an event. And I had a format that it shouldn't be a 3-setter or a 5-setter match, because what we knew is that even being a tennis player, I would never sit through a 3-set match. Right. Because till you don't have a Federer or Nadal playing, you don't want to watch that. Absolutely. So I was very clear that we need to have a short format like IPL. So I told him, let's do a 20-point format, which will be quick to play and very interesting to watch. So we do that. We get some celebrities involved in the teams, and let's do a league. And on a candid note, we just announced an event that we'll do a tennis league. Okay. We were very fortunate that in season 1, Mrs. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan came forward to support tennis. Right. And of course, Leander came in because he was a dear friend. His daughter was training with me. Yeah. So his daughter was training at my academy. So he came forward to support, and we had a grand inauguration. Not really, because when we were abroad, we were just focusing on individual. Right. So tennis, is always an individual sport. You're traveling alone, you're playing alone. Yeah. So the idea of making a team event always came from IPL. And let's face it, there's no bigger success than IPL. So if any league is starting in India, the benchmark is always IPL. Definitely. IPL is a benchmark, and I think we should all look up to IPL. So I would say more than a friend, he's like a brother. And we've known each other for like 15 years. So we have a very strong bond. There are certain areas where, I don't get into, and there are certain areas he doesn't get into. So I would say he's very good at the business side of it. And he's good with his numbers, and I'm more on the creative side and the sports side. So even though he doesn't have any connect with tennis, but he has a very good business sense. So I'll be very honest, in 2018 I already had 5 academies, and like I told you, there were kids who were dropping out of tennis, and the only intent in 2018 was that these kids who are leaving tennis should not, and the number of kids joining tennis should increase. So, and it happened. So when we announced the league in 2018, I think it was around June, and I'm relatively free during July, August, September due to monsoons. Yes. So I thought I had 3 months, let me prep for an event. And we announced it in June. And because of the excitement, when we told kids, there'll be an event like IPL, there will be a stadium, there will be hundreds of people coming to watch you, you'll get team jerseys, it's a team event. lot of kids started enrolling. A lot of kids who wanted to travel for a vacation didn't take the vacation because they wanted to prepare for the league. A lot of kids who had quit recently started playing tennis again, thinking that they'll get a chance to play in the league. So that's always been our vision, that people who are leaving tennis should not leave tennis and continue to play, because they have an opportunity with TPL. There's also commercial side involved now. There's a good monetary amount that every player gets each year. So that keeps them motivated in tennis. So our thought has always been to grow the league every year. And we knew we started very small. In 2018, we had only Maharashtra players playing in the league. And after the league got over, we both sat down and we were like, how do we make it bigger? So we thought, now let's get the bigger players in. So we got all the top Indian players to play in the league. Again, after 2019, we were saying that now how do we make it bigger? So the only natural way was to get some foreign players. Season 3, we had some foreign players who came in. We had Goran Ivanisevic who came in as a mentor. Unfortunately, because of the COVID protocols, he was not able to travel, but we had him on a video call with all the players. Then in season 4, we realized that we need bigger players. So that's how we got players like Matt Ebden, Dennis Novak, we got Malik Jaziri, all these guys to play in season 4. Season 5, we've again pushed the envelope. We are getting Ernest Gulbis, who's current, he's been the top 10 singles player in the world. So we're increasing the quality of players that we're getting from international. And of course, our vision is, and our, I would say, our dream is to get the Federers and Nadals of tennis to play in the TPL. See, a lot of things were uncertain. During COVID, we didn't know whether, you'll be able to have a public event again. There was a lot of insecurity because you didn't know whether the sponsors would invest again. You didn't know whether the team owners would want to continue because there was a 1.5 year break. But both of us have a nature, we take challenges very positively. And we were very determined that, come what may, we are going to have a bigger season 4. Even after we were coming back from COVID, we had decided that the season 4 has to be bigger than the season 3. So yes, there were challenges with the players' travel because there were COVID restrictions. Like I mentioned, we were not able to get Goran to India. But I think season 4 was a great success, even during COVID, because the sponsors came in, the team owners were still very excited. They knew that we are going upwards. And somewhere I would say God has been very kind that in March 2020, we went into COVID. In March 2021 is the time we had the auctions. We had an amazing successful auction with all the celebs, team owners on 23rd of March 2021, and on 1st of April we went into the second lockdown. So God has been very kind to us that our auctions happened beautifully in between the good period, and then again the league happened in December 2021, and after the league again there was a small wave that came in. So I would say with TPL we always feel there is some blessing that is there on TPL, or it's with the players, that the prayers are working for all the players of India. Overall, if you see about, I would say, the corporate side also, or the Bollywood side or anything, people realized during lockdown and during COVID that they didn't want to invest in things which are not giving them returns. People became more wiser, I would say, in spending. Like on a casual note, people started traveling a lot. People knew that, life is very uncertain, so you need to enjoy life, you need to travel. Similarly, there were a lot of sponsors who saw value in TPL only post-COVID, because they realized that here is an event which is giving you access to the top players of India, which is giving you international players participating. It is giving you so many celebs on a single platform. It's a beautiful format. So I would say it's return on investment. So after COVID, in fact, we saw a good period, I would say. See, definitely, we are in a digital world right now. And numbers do matter. So if you see any of our celebs, be it Malaika Arora, Rakulpreet Singh, Sonali Bendre, Tapsi Pannu, or Arjun Kapoor, or Sonu Sood, Leander Pace, Sania Mirza, they are huge celebrities. They have a huge digital presence. So when they, get associated with an event, your awareness, your reach is increasing million times. So, of course, their support really means a lot to us, and with their support, our tagline in season 1, since season 1 has always been reaching tennis to every home. And I think it becomes much easier when you have these celebrities support you. Then a thought came about the TPL app. And we were just discussing that how do we have these top players, we have these 8 top mentors, we have team owners. How do we get more and more people involved in the league? And that is when we realized that, there's an app that we need to build, where we need to build a community, we need to affiliate with academies. And now with the app, we already have around 45 academies all over India that are affiliated with us. There have tournaments started all over India, which are TPL ranking tournaments,
Right.
with the district associations. So we are working on the grassroots level of tennis in India. So to answer your question, the personal life is over. My academies, I'm very lucky that I have good staff and good coaches who are taking care of the academies, but the entire focus now is only TPL. Actually, there is, I would say, no other thing now. It's only TPL. Our life revolves around TPL and the TPL app. So we wake up with the thought of TPL and we sleep with the thought of TPL.
Rather, you also dream with the thought of TPL.
Very true. Every night, every night, the only dream I think I get is about TPL and how we can make it bigger. And there are meetings that I do in my dreams. So if I have an important meeting coming up, the entire meeting I've done in my dream. So it's the mind is only thinking about. So it's a roller coaster ride there. My mom has been traveling with me since I was 5. When I was playing tennis, she used to sit on the courts, for me in the sun. She ruined her entire skin, because that time there were no covered courts, there was no place to sit. So she's seen the entire journey, what hardships the players face. So she always wanted me to do something for the players, of course. And, she's been very supportive. Then, of course, my wife, her holidays have stopped now. So it's only, work. It's only about work. But they have been both very supportive. Of course, my dad looks into the academies now, the commercial side of it. So the family has been very supportive, but yes, sometimes they get really upset because I have no time for them. And every year I promise them the next year when they come for the league or when they come for the event, I'm going to be, warm towards them, and I'm going to be attentive towards them. I'm going to give them some time. But, luckily the league has been growing every year. So even though we have a bigger team, the work increases.
Yes.
So whenever, I tell my family and my friends very clearly that I really want you to come for the league. I want you to be present, but don't expect time from me because there are so many things happening during that time. No, we truly believe that if you really want something to happen your way, you need to be involved and you need to do it yourself. Right. You can't leave it up to people to do it. If you really want that kind of a success. Yes, we have a discussion every year. Mrunal keeps asking me, ये साल क्या हम लोग एक मैच बैठ के देख पाएंगे? I said, let's hope so.
It feels really good that a tennis community which now knows me all because of Kunal also, feels really good that whenever I go to all the talent academies and everything, they know me in spite of me not playing tennis. So very happy to be on the other side of this life. And I think it's a long way to go. In basketball, I was a interstate swimmer also, but never played tennis. The sports person was always there in me. I've been a fitness freak also. So somewhere down the line, my destiny took me towards a sport, and it had to be tennis, and it had to be with a friend whom I call a brother. So I think destiny had a plan. So I am on the tennis court, and always say when you're on a tennis court, it's a love all. I think 365 days in a year, it's been 6 years. So it's not a short time. A lot of time has gone into it. But again, I always say that a league is not a league without a sport. So season 1 was always about promoting the sport, getting something which was never played globally, and making it as, I would say, not entertainment, but as appealing, because tennis has always been a very niche sport. When you go for Wimbledon, you see people decked up properly. You see people standing in queues to go into Wimbledon. How do you make that tennis in our country? So the vision was always like, how do we position a tennis Premier League in the Indian markets amongst the audience? So getting into the stadium, branding part, having visual LEDs, having that graphics, having that show opener. So all of that kept placing, of course, the references, and I have always been the IPLs and the PKLs. So a lot of learnings from there, and I always felt that when you start with the sport, when you start marketing it like that, when you start positioning it, even when I'm saying positioning it, even on ground, giving it a good feel factor for the audience who's coming in, for the team owner who's coming in, for the player who's coming in. I think that's the good feel factor which Tennis Premier League, I and Kunal thought that we should give. It's as similar as a Mercedes or a Ferrari gives you when you sit in the car. So Tennis Premier League, when we were doing it, we made sure that everything looks very premium, very niche. We position it like that. So business point of aside, all of this also went in place with the sponsors. When we showed them the mock-ups, when we showed them the designs, when I went personally to pitch, because season 1 we didn't have so many resources. So everything, how much you know your child, nobody knows it. So I started pitching it to them. I went to them convincing that we can do this, we can do that. Again, difficulties and obstacles were the same thing, that this format has never been played. How are you going to be giving us that mileage? How are you going to give that exposure? But the belief came in after the first year. We understood that these are the deliverables which a sponsor can use, which a partner can use. These are the no's, these are the checklist. And season 2 again, new learnings. Season 3 again, new learnings. And season 4 we are in Pune. When we were coming to Pune, I actually should say Kunal was very scared, because Balewadi being outside the city, how are we going to be achieving to get the crowd in? Of course, I saw it as the Wimbledon of tennis when I saw the stadium, and I was like, Kunal, this is my dream. This is my dream. This is my dream. I want it. So he said, it's your dream, so we will do it now. So that's when we got in the whole paparazzi kind of a thing and everything. That's how people knew about it then, that oh, it's something as like something PKL, like something is happening. So that's where the comparison started, and that's where we got the kick that now we need to step up more. So the whole sponsor, the investor, the team owners, everybody started taking interest, because they felt there is a potential in the sport, as well as there is a potential in growing this IP. So that's how the IP of Tennis Premier League came in after the 4 years. See, I got this answer from the Clear brand owner, Nayan Shah. He said, I'm not investing in the sport. I'm investing in the person who's sitting right opposite me. I invest in the person and his passion and the fire to convince me that he will pull off something which nobody has done. So always, like, if you talk of the biggest of the IPs, we always feel that it was that one person who came up with the idea. Like if I talk about Jeff Bezos, it's of course he has the full army, but always that one name comes that I invested in this person. It's always you invest in somebody's dream and his passion. So I think whenever I've pitched this, they have seen that passion in me. They have seen the belief in the concept, and they have laid their bets on. I think that's how the confidence has built, and now it's been 5 years that again the 5th year the Clear has entered the partnership with Tennis Premier League, and they again I always say, when your partner is happy, when you treat your sponsors as your partners, you make them believe that they are not just a one-time sponsor or one-time people who are there with you. You always make them believe that it's a journey which is going to keep going on. So whether it's Clear, whether it's Yonex, whether it's Kotak Mahindra Bank, whether it's Chroma, whether it's Vol, whether it's Viva, whether it's Noise, they have such big brands that kept coming in, because I feel overall they are also seeing that there is something beyond cricket in this country. They are seeing that something we are getting a 10x at a 1x cost. So again, not just the deliverables, but also the commercial factor also places a very important role for a brands, because they have 10 properties to compare to in invest in. I see a Federer and a Nadal sitting next to me and discussing where do we see after 5 years together. That's something which I and Kunal dream of. And one thing which after 5 years is, of course, the league has to be built, but I want the tennis community. We have 28,000 courts, 2,800 clubs in the country.
We want them to unite. We want people to take up tennis as a career.
That's how I feel the league is going to be successful. I always feel it's very easy to start a league. It's very easy to start a league. But what is really difficult is to build a sport. And a league is nothing without a sport. So I feel when you have the players, when you have tournaments, when you have good coaches, when you have academies, and then you have a TPL. That's how the ecosystem will be built. And I and Kunal both have a dream that 5 years down the line, there's a population of 7.9 million tennis players in India, but there's only one Leander Pace and Sania Mirza. We are dying to build one. We want our country to produce at least one men's player, one women's player in the next 5 years. That's the dream of TPL. We have international players coming in to play with Indian players, but we want that our Indian players go in some international league and they play over there. So that's the ultimatum goal, that after 5 years, TPL needs to have that Indian ecosystem for tennis, have numerous tournaments across India, that too ranking tournaments, not just any tournament, so that they can test their skill level, they can have their ranking, and a belief will be built after 5 years with all the partners, with all the team owners, with all the government, everybody, and that's how the league is going to be successful and our country is going to be successful in tennis. See, app is it's just, I feel that app is just a technology, just a platform, and iOS has almost 1 lakh apps. How do you place yourself in that app? How do you feel that you are successful? How do you feel that, how do I rate myself, or we rate ourselves that we have reached the first milestone? No. I think ideal way will be the coaches saying that. Ideal way will be, the first milestone will be when we have 1,000 coaches on app, when we have 10,000 participants on the app. That's where I and Kunal can say that we have achieved the first milestone. The first milestone for us has not yet come in the TPL app. Ideally, it will come when we conduct 1,000 tournaments for the grassroots development. When we see the academies enrolled with more people wanting to train for tennis. And that's where we can say that, I feel that's where we actually can say that we have achieved the first milestone. So it will be very early to say this. But again, I say that let's work in silence and let the success story speak for itself. I'm doing something for my boy to grow up. I'm doing something which my boy can look at me and say that my father has built this something where India recognizes him. So a name, a pride for my son, which my son can say my father was this, is towards which I'm working towards. And a family believes that my dad always says that I was always recognized by my dad's name. My dad says that today I'm recognized by your name. So as a father, no father can have a better feeling when he crosses him, or I would say he takes him one step ahead with his holding his hand. So I think my success always goes to my family, and it's always been for everybody. But I thank my blessings that in all my ups and downs, my family has stood by me, and they have been my angels. The pressure is always there, because the reason is that convincing people to keep joining you, keep supporting, keep organizing tournaments has always been pressure, because every person has a frame of mind on the court. In that frame of mind, a call from TPL goes, a call from Kunal goes, which they want to promote their property, that's why they are calling again and again. So there are so many calls which happens, and that's the pressure, that how do we first get the unity. So that pressure of unity is always there, because there are, like, whenever you are growing, there are a lot of enemies which come in front of you, but we always try to convert those enemies also into friends, because it's a small world. If together we can do something, why go against each other and do something? So we have always looked for all the people who have not supported us also. We have tried to get them also on board to make sure it's not us only whom we are promoting. If the tennis grows, then they are also growing. So the idea is that the pressure is always about mostly getting it united, getting all of us united. I feel that journey was much more easier because you had a script which you had to perform on. This was a very unpredicted journey, because I feel everything was like an improvisation which came in front of me. I've been in front of the camera, I've been acting, but really the whole thing came in front when we had to go out and promote a sport which actually needed to be promoted. And I come from a business family. I've been with my dad in the business when I was in my college days also. So a few of my business ideas from there, of course, all credit goes to my dad. Of course, acting is my passion, but now I would say that I eat, breathe and sleep TPL. So both have been very different journeys. Of course, I was co-owning a team in one of the box cricket leagues also. So few of the learnings which came in from there also and over here also. Both have been a different journey, but I do miss acting, but I love being on the tennis court now. Being amongst the tennis players who represent India. We met, we know a lot of industry friends and we met over there through a common friend. And that's how we know each other. It's been a 15 years journey and a long more to go. You say that you find an extended family in your friends. So friends who turn into your family. So the chosen family was of course Kunal. And things just fell in place. I think an idea came up. I have always seen Kunal who's been so passionately following the sport, training so many students. I feel running 3 academies successfully and having so many students enroll every year, the number keeps going up. So I think there is something which, when you have a success ratio every year with your academy, with your student, with your sport, I think that's how I have seen Kunal. When I call him Kunal, but when I see students calling him sir, when I see seniors calling him sir, I would want to. It feels very good to see that the respect level and everything, that even if the person is very senior in his age, but still he calls him sir. So that's the passion, that's the experience Kunal gets in this sport.
So the thought came in that we need to do something to promote tennis, and what do we do? So then the thought came, okay, we should do a league, and then the thought of, we should get celebrities involved. The format should be different. So there was an entire 1.5 year thought process, brainstorming, meetings, discussing how we can do it commercially, how it will work, what should be the amounts, who should be the players. And then from the day we decided, that was I think June, we were sitting for dinner and we decided, okay, enough of thinking, now let's do it. So I would say 1.5 year of planning and strategizing, and then 3 months of work towards the season 1. So we are coming all the way to play a match of 20 points. And we're like, yeah. So they were not very excited about the format in the season 1. And that's what we wanted to test the format first in season 1. Even the audience would be like, nahi, maza nahi aayega dekhne mein, 20 point dekhne mein kya maza aayega? So first year, of course, the response was not great till the league started. But when the players went on court, when the players played a 20-point game, they realized, oh God, this is really interesting, because there is no time for you to, relax, because every point is counted. Every point matters. So the first match when it happened, everybody knew that format is working beautifully. When we had the semi-finals, I remember, there was a team which was 39 and there was a team that was 40. So there was this 1 point, that 1 point could change the dimension. So we knew that every point is very exciting to watch and the format worked beautifully.
See, I think most important is that when you bring a format, of course, there are changes which we bring in, but the conviction to stick with one which you have started. If you are convinced with that, then you can convince people. So the conviction was there from the season 1. Of course, we had segregated from the 30 plus and 45 plus and getting into the more pro players and finding the talent from the cities and getting them rubbing shoulders with the pro players. So I think the format we have always stood by, and I think once as founders we have stood by it, it synced into people in the last 4 years, and now people know about the format, that this is the format, and the person who's playing before also puts up some pressure, and the person playing after me also has some pressure. So that is the pressure which we always say, that in a cricket we say that every ball changes the game, every point changes the game over here.
So we have 4 games that are played. Each game is of 20 points. So to start with, we have a women's singles, then we have a men's singles, then we have a mixed doubles, and then you have a men's doubles. So each game that they're playing is 20 points, and end of the day, it's that out of 80 points, how many points has that team won? So every point that a player is winning is adding to the team tally. So the number of points you win out of those 80 is what matters. And they, like for season 5, each team would be playing 5 matches. So 4 games in 1 match, each team is playing 5 matches, so they're playing 400 points in all. and the 4 teams that win the maximum number of points out of the 400 points go into the semi-final. Luckily, MSLTA, the AITA, the coaches of India, the players of the country, they've all been very supportive. So that way, on the tennis front, I would say we haven't had any obstacle other than COVID, which hit us in 2022, where we were not able to do a season. And then I think we were a little disheartened when Goran couldn't travel. And that was a period which was a little difficult, when the players were not able to travel. We were really worried whether the players who have come in will have to quarantine. So there were uncertainties. So, but we fought it well, and we got good support, and I think it all went well that time.
First year, we were really surprised that when we had no telecast, when we had no digital streaming power, the sponsors like Clearwater and 2-3 sponsors were there who just showed conviction with us and came forward. It was very surprising for us that we faced so much challenges in the second season. So ideally, the biggest challenge factor was, of course, the sponsors, understanding that India is a cricket religion country, and I completely understand that everyone follows cricket. I myself also follow it. To convince a sponsor, I would say sponsor is actually a wrong word. I would say ideally partnering with a brand. Because when brands hate this word sponsoring, they say that when you say partner, what are you giving me? When you say shake hands with each other, then that time they feel that you are going to give me something in return when I'm paying something for. So yes, it's no more the brand logo on the checkered board. It's something beyond that they look for. They look for a deeper partnership. And that's how we have understood from the last 3-4 seasons how we need to make sure that as a business IP also, we need to make sure that they are not just happy when they go back home, but they feel that we have got that value. When there is value addition, people will stand by you. When you can take money, you can take sponsorship money for 1 year, they will not come for second year. So I feel any league, anything adding value to the sponsors is very important. One obstacle which I would never forget in my whole life is the last year when it rained on the finals and semi-finals. And to my surprising, Kunal also, I kept saying that this day is going to rain. I never thought that this was the day it had to rain. I thought it should rain next day. On the 11th of December, it rained, and by God's miracle, Sony really supported us by extending the television duration and everything.
For me, there have been 2 highlights, 3 I would say, which I always tell everyone. The first was in season 1, we both had dreamt of something, and when we would see Leander Pace and Mr. Aishwarya Rai Bachchan on stage for the inauguration, and 1,500 people turn up just for the inauguration, that I would say was our first, dream come true, because tennis had not seen that numbers ever. In a national tournament, there would be 10 people watching it. In an international event, there would be 400 people. But for our inauguration, there were 1,500 people sitting just to see the inauguration of TPL. And that is when we knew that, we are doing something right. That was the first highlight which I will never forget. One was in season 3, we were at the hotel, the official hotel. And that was a year we had the Indian number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All top 8 Indian players men's and all 8 Indian player women walk into the hotel and check in. So I think that is the day I can never forget, that all 16 men and women top players of India are playing in the league. And one, I think recently at the auctions, when we would see our all 8 owners and 8 big celebrities, and of course Mr. Sundar Iyer from MSLT, who's the joint secretary of AITA, plus our sponsor Clearwater, and all our supporters present in that auction auditorium, was a dream come true.
I think for me it was definitely, again there are 2 moments of it. One was this year when we got listed on Forbes on number 5. I think that was something I was always having it in my mind, checklist in my whole life. I want to be featured on Forbes. I don't know how. It was the 4 years hard work with all the pillars, like all the owners, all the celebs together made us do that. And when that copy reached me, I was surprised that we are on 5. Again, the journey, how everything happened, how we got listed, it's again fell in place, because when we always, it's a saying, when you have a dream with a plan of action and your dedication to work towards it, I think God has his own plan. So that was one day. I always say that success of anything which you start is in 2 things. One is what you're making, and one, whom are you associating with. Because what happens, even if I didn't know tennis, but the belief, the conviction which I wanted to have liberty to go towards, Kunal always showed that. He believed that something which I believed in, he just used to jump into it. That whatever said and done. So that belief always to have in your partner, in your friend, I think with TPL, I have found that in Kunal. And that's why I always say that when he says that we stand by each other, yes, we stand by each other. We stand by all our convictions together. We stand by all our disbeliefs together. If there are arguments, but still at the end we stand by together that whatever he wants, I go for it. Whatever he wants, I want, he goes for it. But at the end, the goal is one. So that's what is something about TPL which we carry together, and we would always look at it. All the 4 seasons have been special. The 5th one is also special. So every year it's always been going to be like some special moment which you always share with each other.